Hey there, folks. Welcome to Plan to Protect with Melodie Bissell, the safest podcast on the internet. My name is Joshua Bissell, and I'm the producer of this weekly podcast where we tackle topics around abuse prevention and vulnerable sector protection. This week on the podcast, Melodie is giving us some top tips for how to protect the elderly as we care for them in our communities. Thank you so much for joining us for Plan to Protect with Melodie Bissell, the safest podcast on the internet.
Hello, thank you so much for joining us again this week. It really demonstrates that you care for the elderly. So today we are going to talk about tips for preventing abuse of the elderly and protecting the elderly. I know they must be so lonely during COVID if they cannot visit their loved ones and if they have no one coming to visit them. I know from my own mother-in-law who lives in a nursing home not very far from our home, only about 3 or 4 minutes from our home. It was almost a year before we were able to go and visit her. We've since been identified as essential caregivers, so now my husband and I have an opportunity to go in 4, 5, 6 times a week to visit my mother-in-law. When we first went back to see her, we noticed a tremendous decline in her health. See, my mother-in-law has Alzheimer's. I might have mentioned that to you in the past. She doesn't remember our name anymore, and she often will ask me the same question over and over again in the 30 minutes that I go to visit her. However, every time I go to see her, it is my desire to help connect with her in some way so that she feels loved and cared for. I also want to check that she is safe and protected. Today, I'm going to give you lots of tips for protecting the elderly, and I hope that they're really helpful to you. First off, I'd like to give you some general tips that will apply to all the seniors and the elderly in your community and in your life. The first one is to honor their life and their legacy. When I think about elder abuse, it's often because people have forgotten how valuable this person is and how much they are loved and how much they've contributed to our society over so many years. So honor their legacy, honor their life. Let us learn from those cultures that really care for the seniors and for the older generation. Another guiding principle is to check in with the elderly on a regular basis, whether they are your family, your friends, your neighbors, or even those within the organization that you serve. Schedule to check in with them regularly. If you live in the same city or town as they do, drop in sporadically and visit them. You will just delight them with your visit. When it is either really hot outside or really cold outside, also check in with the elderly because extreme temperatures can really impact them health-wise. With the elderly, they're at a greater risk of stroke or frostbite. Today, there are so many great tools available for them, such as alert necklaces or bracelets or anklets that alert if the individual falls or they need to reach you immediately. Remember, if an elderly person is moving from one room to another room or moving to the dining hall, encourage them to move slowly and very carefully. They really do want their independence. However, encourage them to reach out to you if they need help making repairs or if something has broken or they need help at all moving any type of furniture. When you talk to them at eye level. You can hold their hand, but don't speak down to them, don't belittle them, don't scold them, but speak to them at eye level. You want to communicate with them in a very meaningful way. Another tip is to really respect their assistive devices. If they have a wheelchair, a walker, a hearing aid, eyeglasses, dentures, respect those as they really are like an appendage to them. Don't move them so far away from them so that they can't reach them safely. For my mother-in-law, we have put a large whiteboard in her room with emergency phone numbers and contact information. So she needs to reach us. She knows the number, and it is clearly posted in large print for her. Caring for the elderly in a long-term care facility or within your own organization, make sure that there are policies and procedures that have been documented. Screen all volunteers and staff and individuals that are coming to work alongside the elderly. Because the elderly are considered vulnerable persons, you want to adjust your ratios and make sure that you have enough personnel to be able to provide adequate care for the number of individuals that you are caring for. Keep doors open. Provide adequate supervision, visits to the guest rooms, providing supervision of both your staff and the elderly. If you're going to visit the elderly within their own home, make sure that you go and visit them at a time when other family members are present. If other family members are not present, we encourage you to take another screened worker along with you when you go to visit. That will protect both the elderly and also protect yourself from wrongful allegations of abuse. When you go into someone's home, certainly offer to do some help, like helping to do the dishes or picking up the floor, but stay out of their personal bedrooms and don't help with their personal care. Leave that to a personal support worker. You may find that they need simple repairs done to their home, and certainly offer to do that. Make sure that if you do help with any repairs, you remove the tools and that the house is in a safe condition when you leave. Make sure that if you have moved assistive devices out of the way, that you again return them back to the individual so they are close at hand. If you're a family member of a senior, review their medication with them. Make sure the medication is listed on a piece of paper, that if there is an emergency, you can take the list of medication with you when you go to the hospital or visit a physician. Encourage exercise. When I go to visit my mother-in-law, I often encourage her to go for a walk with me up and down the halls or out onto the deck, and encourage them to move around. If you're a family member or a close friend, see if there's things that you can do to help the home be safer, like grab bars in the washroom, removing area carpets where they could easily slip and fall. During COVID, it's been really important to encourage social life among seniors. Research shows that a healthy social life can be a boom to seniors, both to their health and to their longevity. Check into the local seniors group to see if they have seniors daycares, senior events and outings, an opportunity for social time. In the apartment building next to where I live, I notice on a Friday night at 5 o'clock, they have a happy hour out in the backyard, and all the seniors from the nursing home will go to the backyard. They'll all bring their own beverage of choice and sit on lawn chairs and benches and enjoy each other. Encourage the seniors in your life to connect with each other and care for each other. If you're a family member, sit down with them and talk to them about their future plans. Talk to them about their financial issues. Make sure that they have a strong financial plan in place to care for the future, but also that you're meeting their desires and their needs. I know with my mother-in-law and with my grandmother, who both struggled with both dementia and Alzheimer's, it seems like it creeps up slowly, but really, all of a sudden you find that they don't remember you. They forget about their desires and their wishes. So don't wait too long before you sit down with them and plan out the future years with them. Help to protect them financially. And I've got some tips for you on helping to prevent financial abuse. There's so many elder abuse scams out there. I can't think of one senior that I know that hasn't faced some type of scam or attempt for a scam. I know even with my own mother-in-law, we were told by the nursing home that there was a couple that was coming to visit her 2 or 3 times a week. They were asking her very personal questions about her finances and offering to do errands for her, including bank errands. When we questioned the nursing home and asked them to provide us the name and contact information of this couple, we found that they registered when they came into the nursing home with different names. We didn't know this couple at all, but they were trying to gain a position of trust with my mother-in-law, earn her trust, offering to do bank errands for her, and it was someone that was not known to my mother-in-law or known to the nursing home or known to our own family. In our show notes today, we are going to provide you a list of 10 scams that target seniors. Encourage the seniors in your life to always check with the person they trust and know before they invest or make any decisions financially. Not that they're gaining permission, but rather that they are bringing someone into the decision-making process with them, or at least just checking that what they're being asked for is really valid. I recently spoke to a senior who had been scammed of thousands of dollars, both by her credit card and her bank information. How it happened was she got a phone call and an email to confirm the information on the phone call. The person that had called her told her that they needed to validate her credit card and her bank information. They told her she had been scammed. So they asked her to confirm her credit card information and her CVV. They also asked her to go to the bank and withdraw hundreds of dollars and put the cash in an envelope and mail it to a post office box. They then asked her to validate and confirm her banking information. She believed them, so she followed their directions, only to find out that they were the one that was scamming her. In the end, she had lost thousands of dollars, both on her credit card and from her bank account. If you believe that a senior or an elderly person is being abused, please do not confront the abuser yourself. This may put you in danger, and it could certainly put the older person in more danger unless you have the elder's permission to do so, and you're able to immediately move them to an alternative, safe care position. There's always strength in numbers, so if a family caregiver is suspected of abuse, other family members may have the best chance of convincing the older adult to consider alternative care. Feelings of shame can often keep an elderly person from responding to the abuse that they're encountering. You may not want to believe that a family member could be capable of abusing a loved one, or you may even think that the older adult could be angry at you for speaking up. But the earlier you intervene in elder abuse, the better the outcome will be for everyone involved. Remember that if the elderly person refuses your help, keep checking in with them often. Make sure the older adult is connected with medical services and care, that they have a plan of safety in place, and offer the elderly person home services on a trial basis. If appropriate, you can offer to tour assisted living centers or long-term care facilities without any immediate pressure to move. Eventually, you may need to consider legal guardianship and legal power of attorney. If you are concerned that a person's ability to take care of themselves safely is compromised, you can look into legal guardianship or legal power of attorney. If there is not an appropriate family member available, a guardian can often be appointed by the court. Again, I'd encourage you to go back and listen to the previous 2 podcasts where we talked about recognizing elder abuse and what is elder abuse. We hope this podcast this week has been helpful for you to think of ways of preventing abuse from happening and protecting the elderly people in your care. Again, look at the show notes below. If you are an organization and you would like our help in writing policies and procedures, training and screening of your volunteers and staff that work with the elderly, please reach out to us at info@plantoprotect.com. At Plan to Protect, we provide the highest standard of abuse prevention and protection of the vulnerable sector to organizations. Please reach out to us and we'd be happy to help. Again, don't forget to follow the podcast, like it, subscribe, tell your friends about it, and check out the show notes where we've provided you helpful links. Take care. See you next week for the last of our series on elder protection.